Welcome to the Event Engine Podcast. You're here with me, Mr. Lee Jackson, and we have the one and only Arkadiy. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you, Lee?
I am tip-top and champion, especially now that you're here and we're having this conversation. So, mate, I would love for you, first of all, for the folks who don't know you, to just give us a little introduction as to who you are and where you're from.
Cool. I'm Ukrainian by origin. I live in London for the past several years. And I'm part of Palabra team, Palabra AI. We're the startup which is doing the first real-time voice-to-voice translation technology for live streaming, for events, and for general communication between people.
Yeah,
we're solving a very simple issue. There are 4 billion people who don't speak any other language other than their own, and they have to communicate.
Yeah.
They need to communicate. We give them that opportunity.
That's incredible. So let's jump in the time machine then, mate, right back to the very beginning. How did this all start?
Good question. So initially, the team behind it did AI when no one was even talking about AI, which is 10 years ago, and created one of the best face recognition algorithms in the world at that time, which was, among other things, was used at the World Cup, several other prominent use cases. And we thought, what else can we solve? What other big issue? And language has been a big issue for quite some time, but there were no instruments until recently to put it all together. And again, as I said, it's very simple. 4 billion people who don't speak any other language, or speak poorly one language. Right now, obviously, lots of communication is online. More communication, I think, is online. In business communication, other communication. We need to solve that. We decided that's a problem which is big enough to tackle on it.
Yeah. I mean, I often say that as somebody who speaks English, I tend to be very lazy because most people seem to be able to speak English, so I don't have to make much of an effort. And I have tried, though, to make such an effort. I've tried to learn both Dutch and French. I've been learning French for 3 years, and I still can't hold a half-decent conversation. And I've been doing Dutch for a year, and I still can't with either. I can't have a conversation. I could maybe tell somebody that the door is white.
Exactly.
All of the basic stuff. But it's going to take me as a human with only very limited time, an awful lot of time to become fluent and practice in either one of those languages.
Same with me. My Norwegian or Romanian, or I can do some basic stuff. But I mean, like with all seriousness, if you think about it, English is the most kind of universally used language, obviously for a lot of business communication. And when you have a native English speaker to a non-native, it's more or less okay. The problem is when one non-native starts talking to another non-native and use English as a medium, and that's where because you have first this non-native speech recognition, which is distorted by the level of language which that person has. Then you have the other way around, which is again distorted by the level of language that the other person has. So we're basically taking out that medium.
I've never thought of it that way. So because you've got certain inflections in your accent which make it obvious where you're from. So if somebody else from, say, France is speaking English to you as well, with their very obvious pronunciation, if you're not used to that, you're going to struggle more.
And not only pronunciation, it's about just kind of knowledge of the words, vocabulary, giving different meaning to those words.
Sure.
Right? So we're basically, we are giving them the direct bridge. So instead of, using a third-party solution, which is English, we're just telling them, look, you can communicate in your own language, and the other person will understand you in their own language well.
That sounds like the holy grail to me. How have you been able to get accurate translation then through this AI model without accidentally offending people? Because if I rewind, maybe 10 years ago to all the jokes and the memes about Google Translate and how you could be telling somebody that their mother looks like a goat when all you actually meant to say was it's lovely to see you, how has things changed and how are you guys able to confidently say, yes, we can we can say what you're saying in another language?
Short answer: there is, it's our own secret sauce, to be honest. Because
Fair enough.
we have, I think it's like now it's 14 or maybe even more world-class ML engineers working just simply on that one, that one problem. So everything is done in-house. All of the models, all of the training, everything, we're basically fine-tuning. Do we have hiccups like that? Occasionally, we still can in some of the, some of the outlier cases. But short answer: there is a lot of background work in there. There is a lot of effort, to make sure that exactly you hear exactly what I want you to hear.
I suppose as well with with Google Translate. Google Translate was an algorithm that was just churning words around and meanings and trying to piece together with the basic grammar rules. Whereas with, say, large language models and with AI, etc., they have the ability to say, does this even make sense? And also has context, doesn't it? So we can say, all right, well, in the context of this conversation as well, does this random sentence now make sense based on the previous, or should we reevaluate this translation? I assume stuff like that would be happening as well.
That's one. And then you go one level deeper, because the LLMs that exist right now, the Claudes, ChatGPTs, etc. They are aimed, they're going broad. So basically, goal of most of those companies is going towards Gen AI, right? So ideally, we're going deep. They're going broad. We're going deep. We're solving just one particular problem, but solving it very well. So that's another thing. We are focused solely on fully understanding the context, the emotions, everything. Just like in human communication. So that being focused on that very narrow particular use case, but being able to solve it very well, gives us a lot of very clear advantage.
So what are some of the use cases for your service? Well, first of all, for folks who aren't aware, could you just describe how it could be used, and then perhaps as well share in an event context where it might be most useful?
Absolutely, yes. In very simple terms, it's it's an API. Which any of our partners can use. There is they can go through the documentation. We can onboard them very easily, and then what happens? The magic happens. They can and then you can build it in. In case of conferences, there are several use cases. One is for say people here present at the event. If there is a large speaking event, and not everyone speaks English. The conference organizers can get our stream. The speaker will speak as he or she does. They will give the audio stream to us, and we can either give it. For example, they can put us in the application, in the event application. And the listeners will just choose the language that they need to hear, and they will hear us in the language.
That's amazing.
If it's streamed online. It's the same thing. Basically, they can even just say, look, a listener from Brazil will hear it in Brazilian Portuguese. A person tuning in Turkey will hear it in Turkish, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of
I imagine
that's a typical use case.
The use cases then kind of go way beyond just that then, in theory, because I'm already now starting to think of, does this mean that two people who cannot speak each other's language could, in theory, have a video call? Absolutely. We're doing that right now. We're running several design projects right now. For example, with a potential client who's built like a corporate communication / task management platform. And they built it specifically for Arabic segment, for Saudi Arabia. And some of their clients just don't speak good English, but they need very good understanding. They want us to come in and help them. That's incredible.
And the other thing is, we can do it on premises. So you cannot use any of the Gen AI, the general models. You cannot use OpenAI or any other model on premises.
I was talking to someone earlier about kind of our human bias and biases, and I don't know if this is true, but if, say, if we have a human interpreter helping someone, then there's not only is there the delay because I've got to listen to the person, I've then got to understand that context and then translate it to somebody else. I might introduce some of my own biases into that conversation, so what that person was trying to convey may not necessarily be in reality. Would it be fair to say that something like AI could kind of strip out that
unless at some point AI starts having its own biases, of course. But no, but in all seriousness, yes. Ideally, of course, I mean the most professional simultaneous interpreters kind of are trying,
yeah.
But we're all humans,
yes,
right? But yes, you touched on two very important aspects. Where we come in and kind of we. Obviously, we will not substitute, 100% of human interpreters.
Yeah.
Like high-level negotiations, etc. Like between two presidents.
Oh yeah, you don't want
for various reasons, right?
Yeah.
But in a vast majority of use cases, there are several aspects where AI is better. One, it's 24/7.
Yep.
It doesn't get tired. Normally a human interpreter needs to change every 30 minutes because it's very intense. They need to switch. Tiring means not only they need to change, it's also just kind of a human may make mistakes because they get tired.
Yeah.
The machine does not do that.
Yeah.
Third, you can train the machine on very specific vocabularies.
Yes.
So you have a very specific need, like say, pharma or some very niche needs or niche events. We can train our machine specifically for that, for that event or for that use case. Yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, so that will also help then reduce mistranslations, etc. Because you've already fed it with the vocabulary of the industry, of the topic,
and machine just learns much faster than a human.
Isn't it?
This is the thing. Yeah.
I was just saying the other day, I could feed a 90-page document into an AI, and it could give me a summary in a second. And is your translation almost real time as well?
Yes.
So,
yeah. It's very low latency. Our goal is ideally to be zero latency.
Yeah.
I mean, like near
that
zero.
would be impossible, I imagine. But
no,
like
but right now we are definitely on par with human simultaneous interpreters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like with good human interpreter, we're completely on par.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I mean, you don't have to. This was one of the questions I just got. Do we need to stop? No. Once you start talking, it's basically machine picks up. You don't have to stop and then wait for the machine to translate. Stop and wait for the machine to. You just talk naturally.
Yep.
The machine interprets it on the background.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mate, that's incredible. So how can people find out more? And then we shall say goodbye.
Palabra.ai.
Yeah.
We're very happy. There is a button you can book a live demo. And we will take it from there. We're just coming out of stealth mode. We're launching, we're onboarding first clients.
Wow.
So we're very happy to talk.
Amazing. Well, I'll tell you what would be great then. Maybe in a few weeks' time, if we reconnect, what we can do is an online demo on the YouTube channel.
Perfect. Yes,
that'd
we
be
can
great.
do that. Absolutely.
And then we'll put a link in the show notes for this episode. People can go watch. So, mate, put it there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.